Hey Off-White Coat listeners, it is my privilege to get to tell you about this sweet deal from our friends over at Picmonic. If you haven't heard about Picmonic, it is a fantastic picture-based mnemonic platform that can certainly help out any student. Most of the videos are around 2 minutes long and provide a quick and effective way to memorize material for any upcoming medical exam. It is extremely efficient. They have this search bar function where you can search playlists on general topics like renal to step 1 to step 2, or even first aid and other books. If you want to review the Picmonic for later, you can even make a playlist of your own. Picmonic even has this repetition algorithm that is spaced out according to your learning needs. This helps with increasing long-term retention and allows you to review the right information at the right time. One of my favorite functions is the quizzes that are associated with each Picmonic. I'll take the quiz first and then learn about the associated pictures and what facts I need to sharpen up on. Honestly, Picmonic is a fantastic tool, and if you use our code OFFWHITECOAT, you'll get 20% off. That's Off-White Coat with no spaces. So what are you waiting for? Make studying the easiest part of your day. Sign up with Picmonic and use Off-White Coat to save yourself some money. Welcome everybody to the Off-White Coat podcast. I'll be your host, Jordan Abney, and today I am joined by Hadley Modeen. She is one of my colleagues in school. I met her down in Grenada. She honestly
an OG.
From the very first day we were on the island, she's pretty much been one of my friends, and now she's my roommate.
Temporary roommate for sure, but it's been a blast.
No, we're in the ER rotation together, and Hadley needed a place to stay.
I needed a crash pad.
Yeah.
And who do I call up? Because I know is still down here in Miami. Yes. Drum roll, Jordan. And MB.
If there may be some traffic noises and everything, because we are in the middle of the heart of Miami and constant all day, every day.
Gotta love it though. Gorgeous.
No complaints about that. Yeah, you're going to be a native here.
I will officially be down here for at least 3 more years because I start soon in Hollywood, Florida. So it's like 20 minutes from here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Hadley just now matched into an emergency rotation, or not a rotation. Emergency residency. Now I've got it all mixed up.
I know. I'm doing an emergency rotation right now, but I will actually be an emergency medicine physician.
Yes.
Come July.
Come July, Hadley will officially be an emergency room physician.
Yeah, I don't like the way it's like, you're emergency room physician. Can we call me an intern? Because it's like I still feel like a fake doctor.
Soon. That's where you get your training, though.
Yeah.
Like everybody's like, oh, we finally made it to getting our residency. And it's like, oh no, that's where it begins.
I feel like the amount of totem poles that we've had to climb up to get to even like it's never going to stop. Oh yeah. It's never going to stop.
I'm still on the bottom of the totem pole. I still don't know. I don't know how to climb.
Mentally, I will always be at the bottom of the totem pole.
How do you climb these ranks?
I think it's just time. It is not just time.
It's 100% time. Somebody else comes in
time, experience,
and then you just happen to have done one more FOBT than them, and then
but it's like if you're like oddly competitive like you and I are, it's kind of like you can't let one person like one up you in the totem pole just because they have like one thing that they can do that you can't. Hence why you and I are now, speaking of Miami, learning Spanish because of the bing bang bada boom cultural break.
There's been some hot competition on who can learn Spanish first between me and Hadley. She's actually hit her daily quote on Duolingo.
No, we both messed up our streaks.
Oh yeah, we definitely did. So the issue
full
with
transparency.
Miami, and the ER, like I know a little bit of Spanish. It's gotten me through my rotations. Surprisingly, I used it a lot in New York and everything. But when I came down to Miami, everybody spoke Spanish. Like if they were speaking English, it was only to me.
Yeah,
100%. So I was there for 2 weeks, and then Hadley joined, or I was there for a week, and then Hadley joined. Mm-hmm. And so now neither one of us.
I mean, I knew it was like there's a lot of Spanish, but I 100% thought you were exaggerating until that first day that you and I are like both in there, and people are having like everything from like a small conversation to like medical diagnoses are all being spoken in Spanish. Mm-hmm. And Jordan and I are the only people sitting there who don't know fluent Spanish, and we're just staring at each other, going like, "What in the world?"
They're just doing an EGD, yelling in Spanish. They're like, sangua.
Besides the very basic stuff, I really didn't. Please. Yeah, translate. Well, you're supposed to be the translator.
Yeah, traductor.
Translator. Yeah, honestly. But besides the basics, learning in like the clinical rotations that you would do in like New Jersey and myself in New York, you would get by with just like hola, and like the one words is all you were like really needed. Like in surgery, all it was you just press on someone's freaking abdomen and say dolor. That's not even like how you ask like, do you have pain? I'm pretty sure that is not the actual formal way of saying like sorry. Like lo siento.
See you in your surgery.
Yeah. But we've been learning slowly but surely, like small little like phrases to say.
That's the thing is, in surgery, you're pretty much going to be talking about the surgery. In the ER, they're talking about God knows what. Yeah, everything and anything like, under the sun.
God, I love my profession, love the specialty of ER, but it really is everything under the sun.
Oh my God. The stories that you'll hear. I mean, the other day, my Spanish was very choppy at the very end. One of our patients was talking about marrying 3 of the other people in the room with me, and I was just like, I'm pretty sure he's going to marry somebody in here. They're like, oh, you're right. Wow, you got that one.
Oh, nice.
No, he was just, they're very playful here.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's, like, actually, like, really nice, too. Like, stupid nice. But this is also coming from 2 Southerners. So, like, we know nice, right? Mm-hmm. But this is, like, super, super nice.
You can't beat the food, and you cannot beat the hospitality.
They're really patient with you, especially you and I, who are the only ones that we're, like, full gringo ass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're the gringos.
Sitting there going, okay.
I will say there is, like, a different kind of stigma of the physicians that from up north. Like it seemed like everything was so serious when I was up there. And maybe it's because I've had more time and I understand the rotations. So this isn't my first one as I go into them. I kind of know what to expect, but it seems like, I don't know. It was like, they're way more welcoming, or not welcoming, but chiller in a way of,
they're extremely laid back.
Ass isn't on the line constantly.
It really is like, they're here to help you like learn. And in that case, that was the same throughout like North and South. I think the way that they just kind of went about it was a little different. Like they are way more laid back here. Yeah. And I mean, it's just a very different environment. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then people just walk up to you, haven't even met you, and they kiss you on the cheek. And I'm like, oh yeah, forgot. I was like, oh, whoa, okay.
It hasn't happened to me yet, so I'm waiting for it. I've seen it. I'm just like, I'm just like sitting in the background being like, I don't know if this is ever going to happen to me.
The lady that did it to me the first time, I think she thought she caught me off guard because she didn't do it to me the next day. Because the first day she just was like, okay, hey, new student, what's up? I was like, oh, maybe I did so bad that she didn't want to after that.
Maybe Jordan's a bad Spanish cheek kisser.
Yeah, she just thought,
maybe that is bad. New rumors are going to start circulating around.
I was like, me gusta. She was bailed.
You liked it too much, and that's why she didn't like it.
Yeah, that might have been it. I mean, I honestly like that part of the culture. How they like address everybody, but it is weird when someone tries to kiss your cheek and you're wearing a mask.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
That's gotta be just not fun for them, not fun for me.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen like in the beginning of like COVID when people would just like kiss each other like full like on the lips like in between the mask, and I always thought that was like it was so weird. Mm-hmm. It felt like weirder than when you like saw like Spider-Man kiss like Mary Jane or whatever in like the comic series, like with the mask on. Yeah. It felt like that, but weirder.
Mm. Hadley has been showing me why women have it worse off than men.
Yep.
After having 3 women live in the apartment with me, I don't know what the rappers are talking about.
Yeah.
It's for the birds.
No, we were literally in the gym today, and Jordan just looks at me, he goes, living with 3 women, there's a misconception there. He was like, you hear about all this stuff, you think it's going to be a fantasy. The reality, much worse. No, am I
right? They turned on me quick.
It took maybe a day and a half.
I mean, yeah, and then Hadley was watching me do things and thought I was doing him slow.
Well, I'll rip on anyone, but especially you.
Yeah. It's like, geez, Jordan,
I mean,
put the toilet seat down.
Not only that,
you've only been here a day.
It's just like, I think there's girls, the girls don't shit. They shit rainbows and butterflies, right?
Yeah.
As we now know, obviously. Until now. And then I wake up this morning and we're all just after eating breakfast of sausage and eggs, what is the first thing I do? I go and wax my armpits, and I need MB to pull the strip because I can't physically make myself kind of contour in that way, and it takes a lot of like emotional stuff. So MB had to step in and kind of help me out with that.
Yeah, I saw how the final product was made.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting.
Jarring,
yeah,
right?
Made in America.
The glass ceiling has officially shattered for Jordan.
Yeah, shattered. I mean, y'all definitely do have it a little bit worse. Not gonna lie. I think it's put on by other women, but well, I'm just playing.
I was like, I will literally come for you. You did so well up until that point because I have been teaching you so much. Yeah. All men are trash except Jordan. He's finally seeing the light.
She's only saying that because it's my podcast.
No comment.
Yeah. But so Hadley, you were, I mean, to be honest, you've got some credentials. You were the class rep. I remember early on in Grenada, pretty much everybody knew you. I guess I should tell the first time I met Hadley, we had just gotten off of the plane. I had no idea. I was supposed to get there in the beginning of the day.
Literally classic Grenada.
But then due to all these plane issues and everything, it got pushed back. It got pushed back to like 7. And so then in Grenada, it's already dark. And so I come out, I've got, my key, no idea where my dorm is. I had like a printed out picture of it. I was like, I know it's near some water.
A printed out picture. Was your iPhone not working?
You had to connect to the Wi-Fi. I'm not sure. I remember I did have a printed out picture of that. Of the map of like how to get.
Yeah.
Either way, Hadley comes out of the dust and she was like, you look lost. And
that's pretty much exactly. It's so funny. I've met so many people just like that because I went to the island super early. Like, to preface this, I am like so much of a nerd that this story kind of makes sense. I went there like, I want to say it was like a week and a half to almost 2 weeks prior to like orientation. So I could go down there, kind of like get a feel for the island. I never visited before. It's just like being accepted and like, booking the first flight down there. So I was just like, you know what? I'll have time. And it was an island. Of course I was going to try to get like as much time down there as possible. So they had like campus tours. I went on like 2 or 3 of them. And like everyone kept telling me who I had met. They're like, oh, like get involved super early. Best advice ever. Because it was like, not only did I know campus, but I felt like I knew just like the general area. And then I got to know people through like all the clubs and everything. Mm-hmm. And you could just tell like who's on campus for the first time because it's like a deer in headlights look. And you and Sarah literally were just like looking around being like, where the hell do we go?
Yeah. I mean, we had no idea. They were like, it's the new dorm over there. I didn't even have water when I first moved in. It was very interesting. But yeah, you would come through occasionally every time throughout my next
I'm like the genie. Am I the genie?
Yeah. You have to get really, really lost before Hadley will appear. She'll come and grant a wish and then disappear. Oh, that was a good one. But yeah, so I met you. You were the class representative of, I guess our school, right? Or our class?
So it was our class.
I just said the class
so it was SGA, Student Government Association. And I was on SGA for 4 years. So like have been on it since being like at SGO. Mm-hmm. And so class rep there, I was surgery club's class representative. And I think from there I did like a couple more like being a class representative, but I stuck with SGA, I should probably say like the most. And I actually ended up doing like being on like e-board for that eventually.
Okay.
Prior to leaving the island. I was VP of external affairs. So that was the person that planned Sandblast.
Yeah, I was about to say, you definitely planned Sandblast. I remember that.
To preface this, anyone who did not go to Grenada, Sandblast is like the big kind of event that the school puts on. It's almost like a big philanthropy event. It's like a sponsorship, not only for the school, but for all of like the individual clubs that run under SGA. And it's just a big beach party.
It is a huge beach party. I did not know there was any philanthropy going on there.
Oh, yeah. And I had to fight so hard. Yeah, the philanthropy. It's more like, debauchery instead of philanthropy is going on, but your money goes to good proceeds.
I loved that. I mean, as you're going out there, though, right as you step out, the Durham Club was handing out sunscreen.
It's like
somebody was handing out drinks, and then there's just like,
everyone's like, you got water everywhere. There's like sunscreen. Tube. Yeah, but you're like you had already pre-gamed for it. And like the funny thing is that the school was like, we were thinking about like not letting you guys have alcohol there. And I remember fighting so hard to be like, absolutely not. You let this other club like do this. I was like, this is SGA. We have to. I was like, it's not going to be Sandblast without it. And that was the final sandblast my year. So it ended with a bang.
What? So they don't have any more?
No.
I thought they were going to do it on campus.
Well, I think the plan is that they might, which is great. But like there's something different about the beach at like Grenadian's beach versus our campus
definitely.
beach. Like
Grenadian's is huge. And you can just,
and that
go
sand,
wherever.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I'm scared of what's in the water near our campus.
They had floats in the water. Mm-hmm. Everybody was just sitting on. They had water slides. They had a huge stage where people were going up
competition.
There and dancing.
Yeah. It was just like,
I think I saw Hadley, shaking it to WAP or something.
First off, that is not true. Not only do I not ever dance to that song anymore. I was mostly just in charge of everything. I did make my friends go up there though. Like it called them out by name in the crowd and made them like go up and actually participate.
No, it was fun. It was not like spring break, but it was
it was as close as can be. Plus, I think it just embodied what like we all really appreciated about SG, like you and kind of, appreciated about the people around us was like, you work really hard, but you're able to kind of like let loose, let go. No one's going to judge you. Everyone's in the same boat.
They treated you like adults a lot of the time. Like you could do very adult things. It wasn't like a big deal. Like you could have alcohol. You can do things
exactly.
like that.
Because think about it. We're not like 18, 19-year-olds.
Exactly.
Like we're in med school. We know the pharmacological effects of taking too much alcohol. Yet we still do it anyway.
Yeah. People would go wilding out for that. But at the same time, that was one of the few days that you had it planned. Like you knew that you are not going to be studying that day. And it's really hard to reel it in. It's really hard to reel it in when you're at school every day. Study, go to sleep thinking about it. And then you have that one day and you've already put it on your calendar and waited 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, okay.
The countdown was on. Just like think about planning it. I would go and like just remind people every single day to buy their tickets, like buy their t-shirts because we would like sell t-shirts to kind of like help with everything. And then, it was great.
It was great. Yeah. So you at least have that to look,
to add to your
resume that
I have it on the CV. But it didn't really come up all that much. They were just like, wow, you were involved in a lot of stuff. And I was like, I was in like 50 clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a good thing. So, because when you have that on your resume, it just is a huge check. They just go, okay, bingo.
Yeah. Get involved in like what you're passionate about.
Yeah. So because when you started med school, you joined a bunch of clubs.
Yeah.
Did you just join like every one that you?
Granted, there was a couple that I was just like, okay, I had to like stop myself from like joining all of them because it was like the person who's like too trigger happy. I just kind of like walked around and was like, yeah, this looks good. I think it was like it was in 3 or 4 my first term. That fizzled out. Don't worry. I was not in like that many while I was on the island for like the whole 2 years. But I want to say I was in EM Surgery Club. There was another one. It was like American Med Student Organization. I honestly forgot the name of it because I really was not a good member of that one. So oops. But then SGA. And those were like the core ones.
Those are the ones that you were interested in.
Yeah. I think it's funny because I was like, even from the get-go, I was really only in surgery and EM, which it was like foreshadowing because I dual applied surgery and EM. So I think maybe I had an idea early on and just didn't know.
Yeah, I guess I kind of knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know exactly how I was going to like get there. Like, like I had my interests, but I knew I was leaving the door open for a lot of other things.
Yeah.
But even then, it didn't really change that much. Like, I'm still between ER and surgery as well.
Yeah. I like how it's like you're exactly in like the same boat that I was in.
Yeah. Oh, exactly the same.
Yeah.
How did you decide like between surgery and ER?
It was so hard. And honestly, I really didn't even have like a full idea of what I was going to do, even like maybe like a month before, like I had to submit my match list. It was just that hard because it was a 50-50 poll, but so many people had told me before I did any of my like rotations and clinicals, they're like, if you love something besides surgery, oh no, I fucking wish. No, they're like, if you love something besides surgery, do that instead. And like that was always kind of in the back of my mind. I was like, well, why would they say that? Like that's so like messed up. I loved surgery. I had a great experience at Hackensack in New Jersey doing surgery. Loved it. I was like, okay, I think I would fit in here. Cause I'm like, yeah, you get to the point where you get like comfortable, familiar, and then it just, everything kind of like pans out and becomes awesome. But I honestly, it took all the way until the end for me to finally be like, I wanted to be able to have a life outside of the hospital. And not to say that you can't do that in surgery, because you absolutely can. But the hospital isn't my whole life. It's part of my life. And so that's why I was like, you know what? I need to do something that has procedures and where I'm like very happy in, because I mean, again, like I said, it was 50-50. It was like pulling me in every direction. And I knew more emergency medicine physicians who were happy in their field with like families and everything, like dogs and stuff like that, versus the people I knew in surgery who like were also really happy, but like it, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I'm going to do EM.
It's hard to have a life outside of the hospital, especially at the very beginning of your surgery.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I mean, the very beginning of anything.
The very beginning of anything, but surgery, it can carry on.
Yeah.
Throughout your whole life, which is what I'm nervous about. Like, once you get very invested, or maybe you do a specific surgery, there can be a lot of need for that, and you can get wrapped up in it.
I mean, you definitely can.
With ER, you can at least...
It is an end of the day
Your shift is
thing.
over, you can walk away.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of perks to that.
There is, but it comes with the cons too of what you just said. Like at the end of the day, you can walk away, which is a pro to a lot of people, but it's also a con because it's just like, I mean, part of me wants to know what the hell happened to that person. And I have to go in and ask the next person who I'm going to like relieve the next day and be like, hey, like whatever happened to Mr. or Mrs. like so-and-so. And you weren't there. Yeah, you weren't there to like experience it.
They said, wait a month and they'll come back in.
Yeah. No. Just like, the regulars. You love the frequent flyers.
I've been reading,
really do.
Through the House of God. I've been reading House of God.
Oh, I was
so
like,
the cynicism is at its highest peak with me right now.
Honestly, everyone in like healthcare is like a little jaded. Like we all know this. We all have kind of like fucked up senses of humor too. But
I think that's more. It's not even the way he describes in the book. You're kind of like in the way, but that humor is. He's playing on the humor of the healthcare
of all
industry.
of it,
yeah.
I love
you can
that.
definitely tell that he's just playing on
all your stereotypes.
I mean, there's so many people that do the most ridiculous things inside the hospital that you're just like, holy, what am I seeing right now? Like, if you can't go outside of the room and laugh, then
honestly, then it's just like you probably just need to like never go back into medicine.
Because you have to almost laugh at yourself too.
It is like you cannot ever take yourself seriously. But I will say that attitude is so much more like emergency medicine than anything else.
Yeah,
because it also is another reason why like I was I guess like okay with my decision. Of like, okay, if I'm gonna choose like to rank more emergency medicines than general surgeries. I like kind of just like, I mean, I knew what I was doing, but at the same time, I just needed to have like that sense of like, okay, everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It was during my interview season when I was doing multiple interviews with both that it kind of just like came out that EM was just so much more like laid back, chill. They were like funny. They were the ones that were like popping out like, like the beers during like the social hours with like meet the residents. Like, you mean like surgery didn't really do that. Everyone was like always in the hospital. And like they were doing the meet and greets there, or it was like something else. It was just like very like I guess like contrasted lifestyle.
Yeah, 100%. And
the choice got better after that.
Your personalities match both. Like you would be good in both.
Oh, I would have been a phenomenal surgeon.
Don't let her. Yeah,
I'm a bitch.
She still sleeps in her surgery shirt.
I do. I love that.
So don't let her fool you. But your personality is gonna be perfect for that too. Like just because you love surgery just means that it will be better when you're doing procedures and things like that. You'll be a little bit more calculated.
Please come to me for all suturing needs. I'm obsessed with like plastic surgery, like sutures. I love that.
Just invoke the devil in this house.
I know. Honestly, I'm not gonna like.
You're gonna have somebody come in tomorrow.
I'll do it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hands down. I don't care if it takes me like forever.
Mm-hmm. What was one of the first things you learned when you were doing like? When you did your rotations, did you do emergency like relatively early in that rotation?
It was actually kind of later, which is the interesting part. But just like you, I was an EM scribe.
Oh, okay.
So I had previous experience of an emergency department kind of like before even doing clinicals. So that kind of gave me, I guess, like a sense of, even though my EM was late, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. I had surgery second. So I had surgery really early.
Oh, so that's good. So you learned how to suture there.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. Okay, carry on.
No. And then I just kind of like, I almost like forgot about suturing for a little bit. And then it came back in EM. And then I was just like, okay, yeah.
Did you do anything in your EM rotation that was like brand new to you? That kind of like took you off guard? You're like, oh no, got to learn how to do this?
Honestly, you know what it was? It was probably like so surgery will only like take out like the NG tubes and like the J tubes and all like the pouches and stuff like that, right? So EM like usually will put them in, like EM or IM, but it's normally like emergency med. I tried, this poor man, putting in an NG tube when someone is like actually like just like so like emaciated, blocked, like it is so hard. And I felt so bad the entire time I was doing it. Because I was like, I'm not like scared to like yank a tube out of someone, and like putting it in is kind of the same thing. But I was so scared it was going to go down the wrong fucking hole. And so at that point, I'm just like, okay, I think I'm in the right spot, but I'm not 100% sure. And then it just like the whole experience was just like, I mean, to preface this, 2 other nurses tried right after me and couldn't get it. So it wasn't like,
that's always nice.
Yeah. No, it made me feel a little bit better. But I mean, like that sucks. That poor guy.
It's ridiculous. I remember the first time I had to do it. It was actually in surgery though. And they were calling it a tube that they were not calling it an NG tube. They were calling it something else. And they're like, "Go grab the whatever." And I was just like, I walked out, thought maybe I'll look it up. Couldn't look it. I was like,
I know that this is a classic Jordan brain fart, because I've seen this happen like in person.
Yeah. But they were using some term. They were calling it like a something tube. And I was like, And then I'm going down there and I'm trying to figure out. Because as a med student, you usually don't have to, you don't just ask, you just go try to figure out whatever the request is.
You like have too much pride to like ask immediately like on the get-go.
When the attending is when they're all sitting there and they're like, "Oh, Jordan, go grab that thing."
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I think I heard you right.
You're just like, okay, repeat it one more time, and then you go out and you look for it, right?
Yeah.
But when you go out and look for it and it's not in the place where you think it's going to be, you have to immediately like run and like go ask like the nurse or someone who looks way more competent than you, and you're like, where is it?
Needless to say, it took a hot minute to get this tube. But yeah, no, so we get there, and then
was he like, finally?
Oh, the guy was like kind of like a bro-ish kind of guy, but he was just like, "Oh, Jordan, you haven't done that? Meet me upstairs at 7 with the tube." I was like, and I'm like, what is this tube?
Preface he's like, yeah, bend over.
yeah. He's like, I'm like, oh God, what tube is this going to be? Either way, it could be going in any orifice.
It could be going in anything.
But he was like choking on his own saliva or something. Maybe been lung cancer, whatever.
I was like aspirating.
Like yeah. He was just choking on, like, he had so much saliva that he was like, and so here comes me first time, and he's just like.
Wait, does it have the suction? Do you have like a suction thing like next to you where you guys can kind of like?
We were going to stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Like there was like the whole.
I'm like interrupting your story because I'm also like, wait.
It wasn't working at that the second. I was trying to get it into yeah, and he was just gagging. I felt so terrible, and he was just like, pull it back a little bit, and then it went in. I was like, oh my God, this guy's. I'm gonna asphyxiate this guy.
Yeah. No,
and he's just dying on his own saliva, looking at me. He's not. Oh, he can't talk either. So I'm just walking in like, hey, He's like, Jordan's gonna shove this thing in your mouth or shove this thing in your nose. Is that okay? No, it was. I mean, honestly, you just have to do things before. And I also am talking it up to be funny. It wasn't as. But I mean, I
like
get
your
nervous
experience,
the first time.
Yeah.
Like,
as a med student, it's funny.
It wasn't a difficult
telling
thing.
Other med students like, hey, like I will like kind of almost fucked up on this thing. Like that's funny to another med student because like I probably had the same experience doing something else, but like to a patient, like we both are like, well, I felt really bad for the guy.
Yeah.
Because it's you have like that sense of empathy where you're just like, oh God, like if someone comes in with a broken bone, I like shudder. Obviously I'm going to like treat it, but like I can almost like feel it too. And so I'm like, ugh.
I'm literally like, hey, I've only pulled these things out. I've actually never seen these inserted. So I'm about to do, and he's like, oh, Jordan's going to shove it in. It's fine. You just go in. Like,
I never tell them. So this is also a thing. I am the biggest advocate for fake it until you make it. Until they absolutely are like asking you, they're like, have you ever done this before? You can't lie to them, obviously. So you can be like, no, this is my first time, but I have great guidance. Like so-and-so is a pro. They're going to show me how to do it. But until that point when they're like, have you ever done this? You fake that until you make it. That is the attitude.
Said, send me all of your patients. And then was like, fake it till you make it.
Fake it until you make it. I will go in with the confidence of someone who does not deserve to have that much confidence. But I will always ask if I need help because that's like the most humbling thing ever. It's like when you're actually stuck, which I am a lot, that's the way to learn. Somebody has to show you and walk you through some things. But also like you have to also take initiative. Yeah. No patient wants to like see someone like kind of like come in and like stutter and be like, oh, I think it's this. Like that's not going to help them in their...
thing somebody wants to know when you're putting a line in them is that it's your first time.
Yeah, no, you do not do that.
It would be better if you've done it multiple times and are terrible at it than if this is your absolute first time.
Yeah. Like... Even if it, like, I remember taking blood my first time. It was like, I was, like, my hands were, like, kind of shaky.
Did you have those nails?
No, I did not have the nails. Yeah, that's what we drum roll because I have some claws on right now. A little ASMR.
You can hear it.
I know. But, yeah, no, I remember, like, my hand shaking. And I sat there and I was just, like, I turned around and kind of, like, took, like, literally, like, 2 seconds. And I was like, okay. And then you go back because it's like you can do it as much on dummies as you want. A little different. But after that one thing and you get it in, it's just, again, fake it until you make it.
Yes.
Don't let them see that you are terrified. Like I told you, no one can see that I'm fucking terrified about this podcast. But I'm going to do it anyway.
She was quite scared to get on the podcast.
I was.
I think she was going to let on that she's faking things. No, I'm just kidding.
No, wouldn't be the first time.
Living with women.
So yeah.
Did you do any prep prior to med school? Like you said you were a scribe, but did you do anything
else besides scribing? Yeah. So I knew I wanted to go into medicine for sure. Like there was always an inkling, but my parents actually sent me on this medical mission trip to Haiti. Like it was recommended by a family friend. And I was like, okay, on this trip, I will decide like if this is actually for me. Fell in love with it. Absolutely had the best time ever. Like I still have like a whole picture book worth of my experiences there. It was amazing. I vowed to go back and actually like fellowships in international health is like something, and like global health is something I'm looking into for EM. So I might actually get a chance to go back.
Nice.
Yeah, great. Love that.
So for that, would you just go like try to set up EMs in different locations, or
it was like there was already a little hospital set up and they had a bunch of different specialists go on this one trip, and they go every year. It's a little Haitian program outside of New Orleans, Louisiana, which is where I'm from, and it was such a good experience. Like, I mean, they went to Haiti, everyone was like Haitian, so they all really kind of knew like French Creole. It all worked out. It was just an amazing experience, and so I was like, okay, we're doing this. So we better get like cracking. The MCAT was the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my godforsaken life. It was my Everest.
Why do you say? Oh, because it was hard?
It was just like, no, the MCAT's like so ridiculous. And I say this as someone who hates standardized test taking. This is before Anki, everyone. So before you come at me and say like,
I didn't know anything.
This is before like Anki and all that stuff. So I took Princeton. I took like, there was some sort of other like Kaplan review.
I did Khan Academy.
Yeah, I did. All of Khan Academy. I just couldn't make myself like learn the material. And like I did great at LSU, but like it's for some reason it wasn't translating. Don't know the whole reason why, but it just I couldn't ever get like a decent MCAT score. So to kind of like bump up the resume to help get into medical school, I did EM scribe for a year. And after that, I wanted to get more hands-on. So I actually took a whole another year, or I think I was, around a year. I took anatomy classes to kind of like do a refresher. It was like a post-bac, just a couple classes at like my local university. And like that was half the time. The other half, I was a nurse tech at like the clinics. And so knew how to take vitals, knew how to take an HPI, like from scribing, but like knew how to do it myself as a nurse tech. And so I was just kind of like, okay, like all this will like pay off someday. I'm really hoping it will. And then, I mean, they were great experiences, but they weren't paying the best.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to nanny for like almost a year and had a great time doing that.
More about medicine than anything else?
Oh yeah. Peds. I loved peds. The thing is with pediatrics is that I don't think I could stand a certain aspect of like watching kids get that sick. Like, that's why I like emergency medicine. I'm going to be there for you at like the darkest like of times, but like anything like continual like that, it would be really hard for me to stand there and like watch just because I love kids so much. So, but yeah, and then I ended up
that was my issue too, is I absolutely love my pediatric rotation. I love kids. There's something about little babies that just like melts like the cold, dark abyss that is my heart.
Oh my God.
But I just, for some reason, I don't want to do it. Just that eats me up when they're super sick. You know, I did an ER peds rotation. We didn't really see anything too bad.
Yeah. See, like it's different.
But then there would be something super bad, and you're just like, oh my God, like this is.
I mean, like we see probably more of like a lot of like the emergencies, obviously, but then like anything long term that'll stick with you is mostly like the abuse cases that come in. Yeah, that will like mess with your head because it's just like God, like no one in the world deserves that, but especially kids.
Yeah, so that's just like, that's terrible. Yeah, in my time as an EM scribe, I will say that was very, very beneficial for me, not only for med school, but like for med school, but everything in medicine up to that, because just spending that one-on-one time with the doctors. Seeing how somebody else thinks when they are about to start diagnosing people and stuff, it really is like, okay. Yeah. Right lower quadrant pain. I'm starting to think appendicitis. That is really beneficial. And then you start learning things and you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. I can tie it to some of that stuff. I used to scribe for a cardiologist or a couple of cardiologists.
Oh, damn.
That helped me so much in med school that I didn't need very much help when it came to, I mean, I had to like still do some of the research, but
Jordan's basically saying that he aced his cardio exam and that everyone else can fuck off.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, I did decent on that one, at least.
There you go.
But no, it was just the fact that somebody else had showed me all the hard stuff. Yeah. So like that stuff was simple compared to.
I'm telling you, I think everyone needs to learn how to soap note before like going into like med school. Because it just helps so much, and it's really like not that hard. You can learn that in like literally less than a week.
And they really didn't even teach us in med school, but they expected us to do them when we would do those fake.
I don't know, honestly, if you hadn't scribed before, how they picked it up.
Yeah, you would just be, and they were like, "Oh, just shorthand it like a doctor," and you're like, I don't think the. Yeah.
I mean, we know how to do that because we did the scribe training. So it was like, oh, these are all the abbreviations, but
they made it to where you could be like, oh, just write like person come in with Y.
Oh, I wrote PT.
Yeah.
I wrote PT, like, presents with, and then, like, the with is, like, the W/. Yeah. Oh, I shorthanded the crap out of those things.
But if it wasn't, like, if you didn't know the actual acronyms, it would be difficult.
Yeah, actually. So, very grateful for that.
Yes. So, that one, that was good. Plus, you got to see a lot of crazy stuff. Like, I saw a fat embolism, which I thought never would happen, and I saw a man die from it, and I just thought it was, like, I was like, oh, they're just making something up for... Like, is that even, like, they just didn't know what happened to him. They thought maybe it would be that. And then I realized, after I learned way more, I was like, this guy fit the perfect.
The criteria.
Yeah, I was like, jeez. I'm so stupid.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of things I saw. Oh, yeah. There's air. I learned what a GI bleeds smelled like before even doing clinicals because of scribe work. And let me tell you, we were talking about this recently because we were in like the emergency room. It was like, this happens all the time. Yeah. If you are in the emergency room, you're going to smell a GI bleed, and it has a distinct smell. So, you know, when you're walking past the room, you're like, someone's bleeding out of their asshole. It's just a thing. And you're just like, I can smell it.
It's a good smell. Or not a good smell, but it's good to be able to pick that smell.
It's a good smell. Jesus.
It's good to be able to pick that. I hope
we've only had one glass of wine, and we have only had one glass of wine.
But you can be able to tell. Evidently, C. diff has its own smell, too.
I have heard that, too, actually. And the thing is, I've seen multiple people who apparently have C. diff, but I've never smelled it.
Yeah, I don't know. But I was in the room with somebody, and he came out of the room, and he goes, it's not C. diff.
And I was like, oh, how could you tell? And he was like, doesn't smell like it. I was like, that's something I needed.
That's like experience.
Yeah, that's what he was like. He's just washing his hands casually. Not speaking.
Yeah. You know that shit is like you're like a war vet at that point.
Yeah.
Like you have medals of honor on you.
Yeah, he just goes, you'll know.
You'll know.
I was like, oh, God.
Yeah.
So you've already done, when I say Hadley's pretty much already done, this is literally her last rotation.
I have 3 weeks left.
So 3 weeks left before she's officially a doctor. First question is do you become a doctor whenever you finish your rotations and you get your diploma, or when you start your residency? That's a question I've been wanting to ask. I didn't know.
Are you asking like seriously, or like?
I have no idea.
Or like, am I gonna feel like it? Okay,
oh,
so
yeah,
like,
you shouldn't feel like a doctor ever.
Thank
right?
you. So I was like, okay, so literally, I think it's like right when you get your diploma, you are like technically considered. There's an MD behind your name. You're a doctor.
So when you get your diploma,
yeah, which actually will be prior to graduation, because graduation is not until June 4th, 5th. Thank you, SGU, by the way, for not giving me my official date. Love that. But it'll be fine. Yeah, I'm going to get my diploma. It'll be that, which is great. But, I mean, let me tell you, I'm going to be humbled all over again come June 20th, because actually it's prior to July 1st. I have a boot camp. We have like an orientation thing where basically we get almost a month to kind of like learn the basics. So when they like, you know, shove you to the wolves and you like go in there as like a cute little EM intern, you actually know what like the hell you're doing.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that. It's going to be great.
and then they just run through all the scenarios and everything.
Yeah. I still don't think I'm going to introduce myself as like doctor though. Like, cause you're an intern. Like, I'm just going to say I'm Hadley, but I'm Hadley.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you are a doctor though. I mean, you should say, hey, oh, at least in the hospital, you should tell people you're a doctor.
Well, I'm going to have a doctor
you're the one
badge.
that's taking, they're not going to be like, oh, that Hadley girl, I think she's taking care of me. Like it's a...
No, I will definitely do a distinction, but it's just going to be weird. It's like imposter syndrome. Like we've all gone through it at some point, but I didn't ever really have imposter syndrome until now. Like even in med school, I was like, like
I'm still the coolest.
Again, the whole fake it until you make it comes through so much. I'm just like, I know. In no way did I ever go, yeah, I'm class rep, bitch. No, that literally never happened. If anything, I was just like so annoyed that I had to go and stand up and make announcements for everyone. And I remember like coming up with this like hand trick for remember we were talking about like the chylomicrons, like all the dyslipidemias.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, you
I have like this, this hand trick that you can do. Yeah, even though you didn't need it for step 2, but
yeah, don't do the hand trick for step 2.
You will not need it. You will need it for maybe one question on step 1, but for some reason, she really liked the dyslipidemias. Mm-hmm. And so...
Oh, they loved them. I remember.
Yeah.
Pancreatitis, all
all that. So there was like a hand trick that I came up with. And the only reason I could I had to stop in between people's classes because, like in between lectures, it was like announcement time. I was trying to get people to go to Sandblast, right? Promote, love that, all of it. I stood up in front of I think it was a term 1 or term 2 class and literally was like, if I can teach you this and you guys know the dyslipidemias because of this, you have to come to Sandblast. And I'm pretty sure the video is still circulating on Facebook and it is atrocious for me to look back on.
You're just showing them the V.
I'm full spocking and they're like, what? No, but apparently it helps. So look, if it helps,
I bet they were invested in Sandblast after you came up there.
I'm hoping that it did everyone some good because
we're going to Sandblast.
It's like we're going to Disneyland. Just kidding. Yeah. But that was something that she was really cool about though. Everyone was helping everyone. There was no competitive.
Holy shit, that's our class rep. We're going to Sandblast.
We're going to Sandblast. It's like get blasted.
What
at Sandblast?
I didn't know girls like this were at the school.
No, it was very much in the spirit of SGU. Full Spock. Even though this is going to bother probably some nerds too, but Star Wars is better than Star Trek. Sorry.
You're trying to get us canceled.
I know. Full cancel culture.
So so we'll go first. We'll go when you did your electives, right? Which electives did you do? Because you have a certain amount of rotations that are required, like OBGYN and
my course.
Family. Yeah, you did all those. But then when you did your electives, did you just do surgery and EM?
So we're required to do a sub-I, and It was like, it could have been IM, it could have been surgery. I'm pretty sure those are the only two that they actually like let you do, right?
I had to do IM. There was no surgery.
No, you didn't have to do.
Really? Because I'm doing, I want to shoot myself.
You could have definitely, because it came out, okay, this is also like, it came out late that you could do a surgery sub-I, but you could do an OBGYN sub, like it didn't matter what sub-I you did, you just needed to do a sub-I. And that was new this year. But like, student government kind of harped on it. Just so literally out of the woodworks. Hey, welcome to planet Earth.
Yeah, this is what living with women is.
Yeah.
Just finding out like
Jordan's
weeks after you.
Jordan's an idiot. And I bet MB knew this, but like Jordan didn't. So he's just like, this is news to me.
She said, yes. No, she knows some things. But she's
she
like,
knows.
Isn't it the family man? Like, you should be fine with it. I'm like,
she knows.
Chill, girl. How much? You don't know more about medical school than me? No.
She absolutely does. So my course at my hospital all of third year is Hackensack. So it was internal medicine, surgery. I'm pretty sure I had, I think it was OBGYN after that, peds, emergency medicine, and then psych. And I'm pretty sure that kind of was the entirety of my course there. They did not have family medicine, so that was something that I needed to do. And I actually just did that recently when we were both here in Miami and we did family med.
We're going to do a family med podcast coming soon.
Coming soon to, I can't even say a theater.
Ears near you.
There we go. Ears near you. But that, and I did my surgery sub-I. I did an audition for emergency medicine also like right after that. And then I did like, I was supposed to do a radiology at Brooklyn Hospital Center. They emailed me like 2 days before and were like, hey, like we don't have the radiology elective anymore. We need you to like choose something else. I asked them if GI was available. Most clutch elective there was.
Oh, really?
That's one that was the one that was like you barely needed to show.
Oh, that was the one.
That was the one that I was like, I just lived in New York. That was it. With my best friend.
Those are always nice.
Always good. Especially for a fourth year, because it's like third year is like when, you know, you make your impression, you're actually like learning like new things, and it just like kind of like a sponge, just absorbing everything. And then you're also like prepping for step 2. And then after that, you prep for interview season, you get all of your stuff through. But when all that is over, you just want to chill.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. You're like, just teach me what I need to know and send me home, please.
I did a pathology elective, which was super chill too. So it was nice. I've been very fortunate. I did the healthcare online leadership one during interview season, which like if anyone,
healthcare online,
yeah, during interview season, I did that one. And that one was amazing because it was the only one that was online. And I chose to do it during my interview season because I couldn't afford to not like do any electives at that time because then I wouldn't graduate on time. So might as well do like an online one that only makes me show up like 2 hours out of the day. So I could still interview. Like on Zoom and everything.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, when you're doing a rotation during your interviews, you really have to plan ahead and like have your whole schedule figured out, because interviews will come if they come, you're like, I'm taking them.
Yeah, if they come, you have to be
you
like...
You want to be doing something important.
No, anytime, any day. I remember I was driving home, and it was only like a 10-minute drive from the hospital that I was rotating at to like my place back in Jersey. And my phone dinged with an email. And like, I'm not a Texan driver. Okay, I don't like actually like look at it. However, I had to pull over on the other side of on the side of the road to answer this email. And the email wasn't like an answer email. It was just like, hey, here's an invitation to interview. So I had to set it up like instantaneously, because like, if you miss it, it's the worst thing ever. You're just like, shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough. It's cutthroat in this business.
Yeah,
it is pretty ridiculous when it comes to interviews. How quickly you gotta respond, and you have to be super enthusiastic about it. Did you send like the thank you notes for?
Okay, no. And so I probably should have. Are you asking about like for the interviews?
Yeah, like you're like, thank you for your
So
time.
I did not, which is probably like, yeah. Oh, everyone said no. Okay, because everyone who I've talked to was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to do this. I'm definitely going to do this.
Change the culture.
Yeah. I did not. I thought about doing it, and actually in my mind, I was always going to send out like the thank you emails. But I guess I got like so busy and I just like hadn't formulated like a plain, just like thank you thing to where I could like fill it in. Like, like a plain format one that you could just like write in and then send off. That was probably something I should have done prior to interview season, but didn't. However, it didn't affect me in a negative way. So it wasn't like I really needed to. I did send 2 letters of intent to 2 of my top 3. And that was like, it kind of had a thank you note in it. It was like, hey, thank you so much. Absolutely loved your program, blah, 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 like a couple like fillers in there. I plan on ranking this program, extremely high. I didn't tell them like number 1 or number whatever in my top 10. I just said extremely high. And I would love if you would like also consider me, because I just felt like, whatever we clicked in the interview, whatever, cause I would write down notes during my interview and like things that like we had talked about. So I would reference that to the program directors, then send it to them, like almost like gaslighting them into accepting me. Like, just being like, hey, remember this? Props on being a woman.
That's what you gotta do, yeah.
An elephant never forgets.
What, so for those letters of intent, were either one of them the places that...
So they were 2 of my top 3, but it was actually not my number 1. Which I actually ended up getting. Like, yay, we got my number 1 choice. Woo! Cheers! Drink. But I definitely sent like 2 of like the programs in New York that I like absolutely loved. And that was kind of like, it wasn't like late, but it wasn't like super early. It was kind of in the middle of the season. And then towards the end, I interviewed with my like number 1, I would say. And it made an impression on me. I knew that those were my top 3. Didn't really know which like way I was going to rank them. And I was driving from New Jersey to Miami for my family med. Mm-hmm. And as a Southerner, you might appreciate this too. It was just kind of like I drove from New Jersey that was 22 degrees. Okay. This is like at the end of February. It's 22 degrees in New Jersey. It was 82 in Miami. And I remember like driving down and I could suddenly like feel the heat through my car.
Oh yeah.
I think it hit like in like Georgia or it hit in like South Carolina.
Just trying to feel it on your legs.
I remember thighs. Just being like, oh my God, I really miss it. Like I miss being home. And one of my, like obviously my number 1 program eventually was in my top 3. And literally that night, it was like 2 days before like the rank list was due. That night, I like changed it to number 1. And I was just like, this is like the I guess the sign I needed to like come back like down south.
You were like, hey, I gotta learn some Spanish.
I know. And then now I'm just like, well, crap.
Like, me gusta. ¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
Actually, the only thing that I like learned after 4 years of Spanish in high school, and I actually took 1 year Spanish in college. So that's why I think it's like, it'll come back to me. It's just slow. For right now.
Oh yeah, I mean, she was cranking out. I wish I had the very beginning of the episode, which was
my Duolingo.
Her Duolingo. What was your like favorite rotation?
Honestly, it was I loved my entire like year of course. I like hated it. It was a love-hate relationship because 3rd year is the worst year of your entire life.
Yeah.
Do you also agree with this?
Oh yeah, when everything picks up and you're like trying to figure out your life.
Yeah.
How is everything going in? Maybe I'm supposed to be studying for these exams.
Exactly. It's like your entire life is at the hospital, but when you go home, you can't just go home and you're like, okay, I'm done. You have to like immediately start studying for your upcoming shelf.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's very hard to navigate for a little bit. And it is just like, pretty like taxing for people who were just studying
and then all
for the first 2
Yeah,
years.
then all of a sudden you have to, your test is coming up. And you're like,
and you're like, oh, I know nothing. Yeah. I remember like, okay, for everyone that's like scared because they're like, oh, like I'm scared about myself. I don't get like, good percentages on UWorld. This bitch gets like literally 30s and 40% on my questions. Like if I do like 10 or 20 questions, my overall percentage will be like astronomical.
Mm-hmm. But if you learn from that, that's the best part.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like I eventually do. And it was never an issue. Like my shelves were never an issue. Even my steps. Mm-hmm. Because I will say this is probably something that changed from me taking my MCAT to the steps. Like the transition. Because I always hate standardized, right?
Yeah.
But it felt different. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't teach myself the stuff for the MCAT, right? I was taught it in undergrad. don't get me wrong, we had great teachers, but did you feel like you did a lot of teaching yourself?
Yeah, and once
Grenada.
you stepped into
Exactly.
med school, because you're using all these other resources,
and you're
like
studying totally different,
and Boards and Beyond, and Sketchy, and
so,
you go into your lecture, but your lecture it's not as put together and clear cut as even the Sketchy stuff, because they know what they're gonna ask you, but your lecturers are not telling you.
They're going to like outwardly be like, hey, this is this. Yeah, no. So I did better on step 1 and step 2 because I think I taught myself a lot of it. And that is what like stuck. Yeah. And so like that was, I think, how I was able to overcome the whole like stigma of standardized tests, which was great.
Yeah. I am terrible at standardized tests. But I realized to go on like missing things and everything. Like I realized that I learn way better when I'm missing something. Like if I fail or mess up in something, I will remember it for the rest of my life.
Yeah, because you look it up like right after, and you're like, never again. Because fool me once, shame on me. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I got the phrase wrong, even though I have been reminded of that phrase so much.
Yeah,
being from Louisiana.
So I would, even though I would get 30s, 40s, like that actually helped me. She's over here thinking you're smart, girl.
Yeah, no. If you just heard that, I'm trying to get my Duolingo to like, ding, like give me like a positive reinforcement, but apparently it didn't.
So I would get, even if I got questions wrong, the one thing I can suggest if people are doing shelves and stuff like that, buy those NBMEs, because
those are clutch.
Give you like the best representation, because those are the people that make those tests are doing those, and there's always like 3 or 4, maybe even more than that of those, but it's like that same question will be asked in a different way.
Yeah, 100%. You just
know, like for psych, they're going to ask a ton of depression questions.
Oh,
but if you don't know that going in,
know your SIGI caps and that, like, know that. And like the way that they present it too, because it's just like, you'll have like one thing that you might not think is one of the SIGI caps.
Yeah.
And then it actually is, but it's the way that they like phrase it in the question.
I was very rude on my I was just like,
you went full Karen on one of those things. I never
comment on any of the tests because I'm just like, whatever. But for the psych one, there was a couple ones where I was just like, in the review, I was like, I knew the answer, but the way you didn't leave like there was not enough. Like I was like, I had to pick major depression when I didn't think it was major depression.
It didn't fit the criteria.
It didn't fit the criteria, but that was the best answer.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I know that I knew the answer, but that was not a good question.
Yeah.
It was like, whatever. They made me do the review.
You tore them apart, didn't you?
I gave them, me tearing someone apart is like 2 sentences.
Yeah, that's fair.
I didn't like your question.
Jordan's usually a man of not so many words, except on this podcast.
Yeah, I'll talk a lot here. I'll talk a lot in person, but...
That's true. Can't get him to shut up.
Yeah, that's probably accurate. That's why we had to start this podcast.
It's an outlet.
I know. Just as a pure outlet for emotional distress.
So just like sit here and like be able to like bitch about a couple of things.
What did you think was the best characteristic or whatever of your like resume when you were applying? Like, was it your step 2 score? Like, did it, or step 1? That it just put you into where you could just get in, or was it?
Okay, clubs? I might have been like, I don't know. It might have been like a 3 tie or something like that, like 3-place tie. So one of them I think was like the background that I had, right? Like the experience, like and all like the extracurriculars was probably like a great thing to like have on there, because like
sandblast.
No, not sandblast. I mean, I'm sure they would love to hear it, but I really didn't talk about sandblast. I did not talk about that. I mean, like besides the background, I loved my personal statement. And this amazing woman, who's also a doctor who went to our school named Rebecca, helped me write it. And she's like an expert at this kind of stuff. So I literally asked for her help and, paid for her services. And it, like, to this day, I love it so much because it kind of like shows who I am, because it's not serious. It's not like, hey, this is what I did, like blah, 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 blah. It's very like fun loving, quick read, but also like kept your attention the whole time. And I loved that. And I've had multiple people throughout the interview season be like, I loved your personal statement. It didn't bore me to tears. And that is very rare. So that was like kind of how they would start the conversation. And at that point, she's like, oh, thanks. Like,
I mean,
if you love that,
like,
just meet me.
If you love that, you should really meet my friend.
Yeah.
No, that's the crazy thing is I guess I might have some good qualities. Very few, I'm sure, but no, I'm just kidding. But living with all these women, they put me in a different.
Yeah, we put him in his place because he was fishing for a compliment.
It just I don't do. Some people are so creative in the way they write.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what your personal statement is.
Yeah, it helps that they like see who you are, and then like at least like get someone who's like very good at writing. Like my girl was Rebecca, and she helped kind of like give me an outlet because she didn't write any of it. She just helped like say, okay, in this first paragraph, this is what you're going to do. No, she actually didn't. It was me. I'm like, he put up quotation marks. He's like, yeah, I'm sure she didn't write it. No, she guided a lot of it.
No, I'm kidding.
But the thing is, she interviews you and gets a sense of your personality beforehand. And then that's how she breaks it down and be like, okay, this is what you kept talking about. So I think you need to harp on this. And she'll kind of dissect it that way. She's a literal godsend. Love that. So I would suggest like really taking time for your personal statement because that does help. It does make you stand out. And then I think the last one, I had 2 out of 3.
Not your composite.
Not my composite.
What's the
no, not my picture. Not my picture. No. There's no way that picture was the reason why. Oh, I think it was just like
full works. Do not slip on your profile photo.
That is not what I said.
What is it called,
yeah, it's like your professional composite picture.
Professional composite, yeah.
Yeah, your
professional
composite.
Yeah, that don't slip on. Definitely get it done. Like by somebody nice. It looks good. It looks
decent.
Yeah.
It looks decent. It makes your like CV look like very like well rounded. But okay, so I think the third one actually would be the fact that I had formulated like some, I guess, thought into a couple of questions that are like the basic things like that they would ask. And I remember putting like my own spin on it, kind of very similar to my personal statement. Like, yeah, you can answer something seriously, but also like crack a joke at the end. Like literally showcase like your personality. Like it's not ever supposed to be like uptight, you know. You're not trying to make diamonds out of your asshole. It's supposed to be like they get to see who you are. Well, some people are like that.
I was like, man, whew. That lady that showed me the other day, she had some diamonds in the.
Oh yeah.
I finished step 2, and that was actually very moving. You should really take that to heart because Hadley's got a good personality, so it really shows with her patient care. Now, I will say all that nice stuff to say that these ladies took me to the palace.
Oh yeah, I was like, what are you even talking about?
I finished up, and they took me to a drag show. I didn't know what I was stepping into.
Oh, we had no idea.
Yeah, everybody's like, "Oh, I've never been there before," and then I turn around, everybody's giggling.
Okay, so
it was awesome though.
This was all planned by
on her crack.
It's all planned by MB, Jordan's girlfriend, and it was the best surprise like for him because we were thinking like that would be so much fun. He would love it. They would love Jordan. Like they would have if we were able to stay there. They would have like eaten you up. Like it would have been great. But
like, oh yeah, 3 girls and just a bunch of men all over Jordan.
All over Jordan. It was a great time. The Palace in Miami, definitely recommend going there. I think they have shows that run like every 20 minutes at certain times. It was phenomenal.
It was phenomenal. I mean, yeah. The way that she drops that thing,
she's amazing. She's a
the
performance.
Splits are impressive. They're very impressive.
Oh yeah. Always. I'm like literally going through like my notebook during.
Did you take notes on that?
No.
Hadley is notorious for taking notes. I am
very notorious.
And you didn't even realize she took a note on the topic you were discussing.
No. It was I had like an interview
goes to a dark
season.
room and then writes down everything that you had a conversation with, and then you find
I'll
it written in a diary.
remember everything. This is why I'm the worst girlfriend.
Hey,
remember this time at this date and when we were doing this?
You did not have that notebook out then.
I found a hidden spot and did it. No, I have a notebook for interview season because I remember, like I said previously, kind of like writing down like little things that stood out to me. And I thought this was the notebook. It's actually not.
Oh, really?
I was going to be like, oh yeah, like I have like, you know, some things. But, this was what I was trying to freaking remember. At the end of your like application, like your ERAS, like application, like your CV, they have like interests. like the little interest bottom. And the best advice I got, I can't believe I'm just remembering this, was put something down there that really kind of needs an explanation. It stands out, it seems cool, but needs an explanation. And the example that I got was, she was like, armchair detective was what like my good friend Gabby, who's a year older, kind of explained to me. She was like, I love like the murder, like mysteries, like the Netflix documentary. She was like, I can basically play detective and tell who is always like going to be like the murder. And I was like, oh, that's like fun. Cause again, it stands out.
Yeah.
You're not trying to be lost in thing. I should have, but I didn't get into true crime until way after interview season.
Girl,
I am obsessed.
She's like, you should have used bleach on your hands.
Crime junkie, morbid.
Amateur.
Morbid, I fucking love Morbid. I love them.
Amateur.
Yeah. So good. But so it just like for me, I put like my makeshift cheaper by the dozen family. So I'm from Louisiana and all of my neighbors are literally my cousins. And it sounds like a cult. I promise it's not. It's just everyone on my mom's side of the family are neighbors. Like my grandmother was very adamant that like, she's like, I want everyone to stay close. And I mean, I have 12 cousins.
What?
Okay. No, go get soap and wash it out of your fucking mouth. No, I have 12 cousins, on my mom's side, and we all kind of grew up as brothers and sisters because we were like right next door to each other. It was amazing. Loved it. So I referenced that a lot. And then, I think I put something like, I put something about like, I put a swamp rat. I put certified swamp rat. And they were like, what is that? Yeah, thank you. So that is something that every interview, every single one was always like, what is a swamp rat? And I was like, well, I'm glad you asked. So it gets them to kind of figure out like who you are.
I'm glad you asked.
So no,
What is a swamp rat?
Seriously, you're from the South and you'll know what a swamp rat is.
I just want to know what your rendition of.
So I always say like, okay, so people that grew up in Hawaii always like call themselves like mermaids, like, we're always in the water. So Louisiana does not have crystal clear water like Hawaii does. It is brown and murky and full of actual like nutria, like gators and stuff like that.
I did a gator tour in New Orleans about 2 weeks ago.
It is true. They do have us.
Hadley follows me around the hospital, and I will say something, and she'll repeat it in a more southern accent and just laugh. And
I think it's hysterical because
he's a redneck, isn't he, guys?
And they don't speak any English either, so it's just me and
but
Hadley
they still laugh
English.
because like, I'm laughing. Yeah. So they're like, it must be funny.
Like, redneck.
Yeah.
Tour. They just started insulting me too now.
It's like. It's funny to me because I'm from Louisiana, which is even more south than Georgia, but I don't have, I guess, like that much of an accent. I probably have one, but it doesn't come out until I drink or if I'm around other people that have accents, it'll start to kind of like seep out too. But yeah, I am jealous of the Georgia accent.
The southern twang.
Yeah, the twang.
No, it just only comes out with a drink. That's why I always start drinking early.
There you go. It's always 5 o'clock somewhere. But yeah, little things like that.
Like where, you can
really stand out because you're not trying to be lost in the papers. And it comes down to like, obviously we did Zoom interviews. So when you said
swamp rat, you were just like, I swim with the gators.
It was like, I grew up on a river that fed into a lake. So it's like every water
You're like, have you seen the movie Joe Dirt? That's essentially.
So yeah, essentially that's exactly it. But like... So instead of like your Hawaiian like mermaid, I'm a swamp rat. I grew up on like in the canals.
Rule number 1, I'm number 1. Rule number 2, the Croc's number 2.
The Croc.
So for graduation, how are they doing graduation? Are they going to do it like in person or?
It's going to be in person, which I was kind of excited about because I think it's going to be a great chance to go and see everyone. I actually miss everyone so much.
Yeah.
It's going to be like a good, like almost a goodbye, which just seems so sad. So sad.
All of y'all are going to your respective parts of the country.
I know. Everyone's going to their own residencies everywhere.
Yeah. When is the graduation?
So it's June 4th and June 5th.
It's in
graduation
Flushing though?
No, it's 3. So over 2 days, you have 3. There's 1 on June 4th, and I think there's 2 on June 5th.
Okay.
And then those ceremonies broken up into 3 that's it.
And then you gotta celebrate then. I might be up there then. So
You need to. My friend Natalie.
They told me I could wear my gown
Yeah,
for this.
there
I was like,
you go.
Doesn't seem right without the title. How excited are you for the hat?
Not excited at all. I have bangs that don't agree with hats, so it's not gonna. It is seriously. It's just gonna it's gonna mess it up. I honestly considered for a hot second going and getting it put on me by a hairdresser, and then I'm like, oh wait, I'm broke. I can't afford that.
That's interesting. I didn't know. That's something women...
You could do it. Yeah, this is another reason why women have it worse than men.
A hairdresser would put a hat on your head?
They style it and then we'll put it... Yeah.
No, I mean, that makes sense. I'm just not the king.
It's like a blow dry bar. You can go anywhere.
That seems so weird. But that's just because I'm a guy and I'm not the king. So the king gets things placed on their head.
The king.
Me... Simply got to do it myself. I barely have one hat.
Jordan thinks he's the king in his castle when it's taken over by 3 women.
It is. I'm not the king of this castle. I'm more the jester.
But we didn't even...
More the jester than anything.
the Joker.
The Joker.
Which we did see Batman recently, so that hits harder.
That was good, yeah. That was very good. I guess since we talked about your interview stuff, what was one of the most ridiculous interviews question that you had?
I mean, I had a lot of them that were very just the basic questions, tell me a little bit more about you, what are your interests outside of medicine, stuff like that. I would always get if you weren't in medicine, what would you do? What would your profession be?
Oh.
And we talked about, I think that one, because I remember asking, I got it and it was just kind of completely off guard because I didn't realize that was an actual question. I mean, my answer always stayed the same, but I actually asked my friends, what would you see me as, outside? And everyone just referenced freaking Sandblast, and I was like, event planner. You love getting a party together.
I mean, Sandblast was, if you weren't there, you should have been.
It was great. Yeah, if you weren't already in Grenada, you should have booked your $1,000 flight to go to Grenada just for the party.
It wasn't bad. Hadley, everybody remembers it just for that. Okay, so what? So event planner?
Event planner, but they said that mine would be...
You said you wanted to go wreck motorcycles somewhere.
So, kind of. I would be a Hollywood stunt double. 100p. That is, I think, the coolest profession ever. Your job is to stay in shape. You get to travel all around the world at these movie sets. Yeah, I mean, they always say you shouldn't meet your heroes, so I think the same is probably for actors. But I'm sure not all of them are like that. So it's going to be fun to go there. You get to go to red carpet events, and you get to retire at an early age.
The real question is, who would you be the stunt double of?
I don't know.
Did they ever ask you that question?
No, which is a great one. However, MB told me recently, and I told her it's actually more my sister that looks like Shailene. Is it Shailene or Shailene Woodley?
I do not know this
the girl
person.
from she started at The Secret Life of the American Teenager, and then she went and did the whole Divergent series, and now she's in a bunch of different things. But I didn't see it. It's actually more of my sister that looks a lot like her.
So then, who are you going to be?
I don't know.
You're just talking about your sister.
I know, but I figure it out. I have no idea.
So you would pose as your sister, posing as Shailene Woodley.
Or I'd be like, hey, I have a better one for you, but my sister has back problems, so I would be the better motorcycle rider. I'll do it.
We'll have to see if anybody has any recommendations on who she should stunt double for next. You could still be an extra, you could be a doctor that just doubles as a stunt double.
Or the doctors that give advice for the programs like Grey's Anatomy and everything. That's cool.
You could be a patient in Grey's Anatomy.
Love that. I'd love to play dead. If you just actually put me on a little bit, I bet I'd really like that.
Yeah. I'm sure.
You're and then my other weird one was, if you were an element on the periodic table, what would you be?
Yeah. What were you?
I was helium. And I had a good response to it, but I can't even come up with it now.
I'd probably be nitrous or something very highly flammable, willing to explode.
Yep, that
could be
because what did we say the other day? We were like, "Oh my god, if you could describe your music taste in one word."
Oh, I know.
And then yours
absurd.
was
yeah.
No, I just asked that randomly.
No. Yeah, that's a good question, and that was the true testament of how well
you know each other.
Yeah, Mary Beth was like chaos or something. I was like, nailed it.
And what did you say?
I said rage, which was my own description of my music choice. But then she said chaos, and I was like, wow, she nailed it.
Nailed it right on the head.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially, just that that grunge music that you listen to as a teenager.
Jordan never grew out of that.
Yeah, a little Marilyn Manson.
Never grew out of it.
You gotta get yourself pumped up, man. That's what I do.
Always.
What was yours? Yours was...
Mine was eclectic.
Eclectic.
A little bit of everything. Which is a great general answer.
Word to use. So, moving to Miami, what has been one of your, the highlights of moving to Miami?
God, it's probably just being able to explore new areas with constant amazing weather. Okay, so new stuff plus the added benefit of just always feeling happy. There is no such thing as seasonal depression out here.
So true though.
I think I didn't even say that right, but seasonal depression does not exist down here. It's just gorgeous.
Cures it all.
I went outside and walked a mile to go get my car fixed literally today and was happy about it because I got to walk in the sun and I was listening to a song the whole time. Now
that's the beauty of not having any tests over your shoulder.
That is fair. This is the beautiful life of a fourth year. I should preface this by saying this is gorgeous, but you know what? I deserve this.
Yeah,
I earned
this. Deserve, yeah. Some of these poppies over here, they just say, no hablo inglés. And she's like, that's exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so Miami is a plus on your side. You're going to be here for a while, so you got to...
I will be here for 3 years.
If you had to pick one place to work outside of the U.S., where would it be?
Okay, so part of me really thinks that there's something tying me back to mission trips in Haiti. And I'm not saying work there full time, but do more there after my medical mission trip that I went there.
Yeah.
I feel I said I would go back one day and I definitely want to. But as far as living, I don't think this is going to shock you. Honestly, I think I would definitely consider going back to Grenada.
Just go straight to Grenada?
I think I would honestly go back to Grenada. I had you loved it or you hated it. Yeah. And at least there are certain people that that they loved it. No. You and I loved it.
This is Grenada's second daughter right here. is certain. They would love you. Oh, I mean, you would be...
I loved it.
If anything, you would be with the people that already know you.
But it's also
all those locals knew you and everything.
Yeah, and there's something about giving back to the community that housed you for 2 years.
Yep.
Granted, there's always there's a good and a bad. Yeah, we got swindled a couple times, but it would also happen in the U.S.
Yeah. If you go to a new culture and you act you help in that culture and you become part of the culture, I guess is the best way to explain it, is you embrace everybody that you're around. You don't trust them. That's how. Yeah, I guess you could get swindled at first, but that's how you protect yourself in the long run. People start looking out for you. People know that you're a good person. And I'll tell you one thing, in Grenada, if people knew that you were a good person, then everybody knew each other on that island.
No, they really did.
So if people thought you were a good person and somebody tried to swindle you, somebody else would come over and go, hey, man, get out of here.
Yeah.
And they would just be
or just be you want the best rate? Him. Go here.
Don't trust that man. Yeah. And they'd be like, come with, I got
this you. This didn't happen to us when we were on, the island as, students the entire time. Obviously, they couldn't get to everyone, It wasn't a Superman or a Batman, symbol where they're must protect all the students. But you're right. If
I'm not even saying, not everybody in necessarily the school, but, I'm saying, other locals and stuff would be like, hey, man, I wouldn't be, I got a better solution for your problem. Come with me or do whatever. And so
we always said that, we would always joke about the fact of going back, getting a community house, like all of us that were really good friends that were that'd be so sick just to go get a vacation house down there. All of us pitch in a little bit, do whatever. If I'm already working down there half the season, I think that would be a good one.
A little timeshare down in Grenada. It sounds nice. That's a good way to end it. A little timeshare in Grenada.
A little timeshare.
But yes, Hadley. So we're gonna definitely have her on a couple more times. So, but just so we can. But I just wanted
to
give you the full.
Too much.
No. I just wanted to. First off, I mean, you bestowed so much information on me throughout medical school. To be honest, since the first day all the way even to now, she still helps me with the. Yeah, she's still a genie. Don't rub the bottle too hard. You don't want it.
Ultimate power. I just little bitty living space. I actually have a little bitty living space right now. I'm literally a couch cockroach on Jordan and Nimby's couch right now.
Ultimate power, a little bit of living space.
Yeah.
No, but it's been so great. Thank you, everybody. Email us at the offwhitecoatpodcast@gmail.com, or you can find us on Instagram. Yeah, it's been great, Hadley. We love you. Everybody else,
Stay golden, Pony Boys. Stay golden.
Stay golden, baby. All right.
Hey everyone, I want to take this time to tell you about our friends over at TrueLearn. They have this top-of-the-line test bank that is perfect for any upcoming board exams that you may have. They have test banks for all types of exams. So whether you're studying for medical school, nursing school, OT, pharmacy, and others like speech pathology, TrueLearn is the way to go. If you're like me and going through medical school, they have a question banks for all the big exams, like Step 1, Step 2, and Step 3, with quality assessments for each exam. Look, I know we didn't go into healthcare because we love taking tests. This is the hard part of the job. Make it easy on yourself with TrueLearn. Sign up now with the code OFFWHITECOAT to get $25 off your purchase. That's OFF WHITECOAT, no spaces, to get $25 off your purchase. This is a test bank that you do not want to pass up on. Make this easy on yourself. Take the deal, pass your boards, and get back to enjoying the reason you went into healthcare. And make sure to use Off White Coat when you pick it up.